let the students pretty much run the.
Oh yeah, on the where they told their stories about what happened with the Sandusky stuff.
Jerry Sandusky, all the positive and negative stuff, and the kids really were wonderful. And I know you just let them go. You kind of
little direction.
Yeah, some direction, but you gave them.
And it was their words.
Yes.
It was their description of what they were going through.
I hope this isn't too simplistic a question. But
Yeah, no such thing.
I'm wondering, would you rather play a good guy or a bad guy? And I'm not sure you ever did play a bad guy, but if you ever played a bad guy, do you feel that it stretches you as an actor? If you did ever play a bad guy, would you feel that it stretches you as an actor?
I hear your question, and I'm going to dodge it this way. I'm going to say it's not so much good guy, bad guy. It is the complexity and depth of the role.
Well, yeah, people are complex,
yeah,
but
so
I'm not sure movies always recognize that. You know, they seem to typecast people as good guys and bad guys sometimes.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So my answer is it's not the good guy, bad guy. It's the complexity of the role. That if you get a role that allows you to explore the depth of the character, that becomes what you want to do. Whether he's, I mean, first of all, as I tell my students, you can't play bad guys. You know, there's no bad guy, a legitimate villain who thinks he's a villain. Nobody. I mean, you can't play.
He's a villain, but the audience does.
Yeah, but you can't, as an actor, you can't do that because then you're playing against yourself. What winds up happening is, I mean, even if I had to play Adolf Hitler, you know, if I play, I'd have to find the justification for why Hitler did and thought the way he did, and I couldn't come up and say, I'm Adolf Hitler, I hate you. No, it wouldn't work because it wouldn't be believable, it wouldn't be truthful, and therefore the audience would buy it. So that even when you're playing, I mean, the biggest example of that is Hannibal Lecter. I mean, Hannibal Lecter is a cannibal for crying out loud, who kills people and eats their brains.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, before Hannibal Lecter came along, if you describe that character, you know, you would have to go, you know, how do you make that? And he wound up being a believable but also sympathetic character, didn't he? You know, he was a sympathetic.
Well, I was afraid of that movie, so I didn't go see that. I'm scared of it. Maybe someday I will see it. But
yeah, he winds up being, he's very frightening, but at the same time, he develops a relationship with the FBI agent that's almost paternal. And you, I'm not going to say you like him, but you are drawn to his whatever, because he also seems to, the way it's manipulated by Jonathan Demme, is that he only kills people that you would kill. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really, you never see him kill the people you like, which apparently used to. That the people you see him kill, even the people who have kept him in prison for the scene in the cage, the bad guy, you know, the guy who's in charge is really a sadist. And so you kind of go, you know.
He's having a friend for dinner.
Yeah. But knowing him, knowing the actor couldn't start off saying, I'm playing a cannibal. Yeah, the actor started off saying, I'm doing something that justifies, you know.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But some actors, I've heard say, they feel like, you know, it stretches them as an actor to try to play somebody evil. You know, that's regarded as evil.
No, yeah, and what they're saying, and I sort of translated for you. What they're saying is trying to find the good in the character that is evil. That's the difficulty. Is how do you find, if you had to play Hitler, how would you find something that was human about Hitler so you could play it? How would you find something human about Osama bin Laden?
Right, or something they can relate to.
You know, I mean, if you have to play Osama bin Laden, you kind of go.
Better?
You know, you're going to set up a program that is going to, you know, send 4 planes into innocent people in an apartment building. How do you play that sympathetically?
I see.
You know, because he's our Hitler, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was going to say we can have a little bit of discussion if you can stick around to the end of the next movie. I don't know if it's your time limits. I have both films, so if you need to leave, I can show you without your presence.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you can show. Yeah, you show the film, and then maybe we might bounce back.
Okay. Well, why don't we start the film? Do you want to do a brief setup of where
No.
God left his shoes and
No.
we'll just start the movie?
I think if the film doesn't speak for itself, I mean, I can tell you it's an independent film. It won the Humanitas Award. The reason you haven't heard of it was, as you see, the theme was almost exactly the same theme of a film that came out at the same time with Will Smith. They bounced heads, and our little independent film, it never had a general release because it was, you'll see, it's very similar to the film with Will Smith.
It's well worth it.
And let me say also thank you for inviting me and my babe and thank you for showing up.
So is the question we didn't ask, who's your favorite actor?
No,
Oh.
you almost said it.
There's a list.
No, there's a main.
Okay, that's
The
it.
main question is always, and I'll leave until you ask it, what's it like acting with Bruce Willis?
I kind of asked somebody that question. Asked the wrong
What was
person.
he like? Was he more of a gentleman to
He's
you?
an actor. The best thing you say an actor can say about another actor is he's an actor. He's not a celebrity. He is a celebrity, obviously, to you guys, but he's an actor. We rehearsed the scene. We worked on it. He did steal one of my lines, but the actor. But he was wonderful to work with. I enjoyed working with him. I liked the opportunity to work with him again. I kind of made friends with George Clooney. I did a film with him.
What about Morgan Freeman?
Morgan Freeman was an old friend of mine from back before Morgan did Driving Miss Daisy, so I know him from years ago. And I did a film. He's in deep in the back.
He plays the president.
We don't have any scenes.
What did Morgan Freeman do before he took to acting?
Electric Company. Remember he was
Yeah, that was an act. He
My
was an
kids used to
actor.
watch that when
When
he
he
played.
did Electric Company.
But even
He was
before
an
Electric
actor.
Company, he was an off-Broadway actor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew it. That's my new.
So he wasn't in film, he was...
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
On
okay.
theater. Yeah. Another
So
question.
more questions.
Any other last minute questions?
Last question.
Peaches, did you have a question?
Yeah, my question is, you did all that acting and stuff like that. How did you end up here to State College?
Very good. Boy, that's a great question.
Great question.
That's a really great question. Because I can tell Peaches going, how did the heck did you? How did you wind up in this place? You got interesting.
Exciting and all.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you, I got to answer. What happened was I had worked with a couple of people from Penn State Theater Department, and I had just done my first ever Broadway show. It was in January. I had just done
Die Hard.
Die Hard. I just done Die Hard. My first Die Hard. I had three national commercials. Talking about money. Money is in commercials. I had 3 national commercials running at the same time. My career was going like shing, right? And this was in '95, and I had been back in the business about 15 years at that point. And I got a call from a guy who was in the drama department here. And Bob Leonard was his name. He had directed me in another thing called Master Harold Boys. And he said, we had a black professor who left. And they were looking for another black professor because there was a consent decree with the Justice Department because there had never been black directors or black professors in drama. And would you come out next year for just a year until we do a search and find someone else? And so I went to my agent and said, I'm thinking about it. And the agent said, you're crazy. Your career is at the top of you're doing better than you've ever done in your life. You ride that, on into the sunset or whatever. And said, no one leaves to go teach when they're doing well. And the implication was, you go teach when you're not doing well. And I was somewhat offended by that. And I had already talked to my baby, and we had talked a little bit about it. She was working in New York, and kids were still home. And I was offended by that. I thought, you go teach when you're not doing well, as opposed to teach when you're, and I also remember I told you about Oscar, and there's a couple other people, Wynn Brooks, other people who had helped me along the way. And they didn't wait until they were doing badly to become my mentors and my teachers. And so I said, well, let me go out there and do the year. And while I'm there, I can write a book. I mean, by that time, it was, I was moving on into, had been a lawyer, been an actor, been a writer, been a director, all that sort of stuff, been a civil rights activist. So I can write a book, and I can teach, and sort of sit under a tree and. And I came out and intending to spend that 1 year and fell in love with the kids. Because to run into kids who want to be artists in today's world, who want, and actors are artists, who want to do, everyone has told them, get a real job. Become an accountant, become a lawyer, become a doctor, become something that's going to pay you some money. And these kids were holding on to the dream, as I had held on to the dream when I was younger, of wanting to be actors. And I thought, I've got to help them. That's number one. Number two was there was a critical mass of young African American and other minority kids who were in the business, and they were having the same kind of struggles I had back in the 50s and 60s. And number three, there were all of these white kids from central Pennsylvania who didn't have a clue about black people. And in fact, that was even a more compelling reason. There was even, I came across kids who were saying to me, they had never had a black teacher, they had never been in a situation where they had to interact with black kids, or black people, period, let alone having them in front of the classroom. And I thought, well, there's a whole other group of people who need me. It's not just the black kids who need me, it's the white kids who need me. And Lord knows the theater department needs me. And so when it came time to sort of look around for a full-time position, I went back and I said to my behavior, I said, I'm going to put in for it. How would you? She said, well, no, because I'm not going to let you be out there. So she took a leave of absence from her job, and she came out here and started studying for her master's in communications, and liked it because she had been, 17 years as an engineer in television, and now she was studying it. And so, make a long story short, I went on to get tenure, become a full professor. She went on and got her doctorate, and so she's now a teacher, and here we are.
I'll add one more thing to that. His New York City agent, who's a very, very fine agent, that's the same agency that represented Ossie Davis and Ruby Dee, had a dad who graduated from Penn State. So his agent, even though he thought he was crazy for coming out here to the middle of nowhere, continued to submit him for work. And most of the work that you saw on that reel is work that he did after he left New York and came out here to Penn State, because he had an agent who kept working with him because he really respected him as an artist.
That's a question.
I have one more question, because you're teach theater and everything, and you've been here a while. You have grandkids, and I don't know if they live here,
No,
but
Chicago.
what do they, do you do anything with the state college? With state college as far as theater, as far as African American stuff?
Absolutely. I did it for a while, and then Kokora Franklin came along. She's a dance teacher, got a dance program, and like I remember I told you, I started moving into this place where I feel like I'm an elder and I'm there for advice. And so a lot of the younger people, Kokora is over there, other people in the theater department. When I came to the department, I was only the second African American. The first one had left after a year. I was the second one. Today we have, beginning in September, we will have 5 African American professors. 4 of them are tenured. I'm the only full professor, but 4 of them are tenured.
In the theater department?
In the theater department by itself. It's the biggest. And when I came, I directed the first African American play written by an African American, Raising the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Now we do 2 a year. There was like 2 or 3 grad students in the acting program. Now we have 6. So one of the other things that's happened is that we have grown the department in terms of multicultural and diversity. We've grown it so that it now is more representative of what the world is like. Not the world of central Pennsylvania, but the world outside of central Pennsylvania. I'm very proud of that. And so one of the things of that is that other young people are doing that work. I started it, and there are other people. Does that answer your question?
You've done Shakespeare, right?
Because I was wondering, I mean, they do plays and my grandkids go there and I never hear them say that there's any black people in the plays that they do. So they're all either in sports or they're in different other things, and I was just wondering.
I'm gonna tell you what, that's not the school, because I know Kokora does the Martin Luther King dinner every year, and she does the dance program, and there are other things going on. It's because the students are not opting for it. Because at State College High, I would suggest there are a lot of professional people who have their children there and are advising their kids to not do, you know, things like the arts, because it doesn't pay. That would be my suggestion. I don't know. That's me guessing, but that's what I have found. Because I did a show with Bald Eagle. I did a show with State College, and what I didn't find was a lot of kids of color, in particular, being supported and advised to do that. Most of the kids of color that come to Penn State come from Philly and Pittsburgh and DC and New York. But here, it's not considered to be something you should do.
When you raise up here, they want to get away.
Yeah.
That's true too.
Because, but then they end up coming back because, you know, they're not, the real world is, they're raw when they get there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they might think they know.
That's right.
But they don't. I tell them all the time, I said, this is not real. This is fake.
Well, it's not fake. It's different. It's not what they're going to find.
No, it's not real. This is not real. You cannot go leave your car running in any city and go to the store and come back and still have that car sitting there.
Why is that less real? It's different. I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I'm just saying, but it's the reality they have here. That's one of the things I found. The reality is very different.
The reality is this is safe here, but the world is not safe. But that's the reality of it, and so I was just wondering.
We had Sherry Sandusky. It wasn't real safe for this.
Yeah. All right, hold it. We're going off.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead. Last question.
Well, I wasn't sure. Are you through, Peaches? Okay. Well, I'm not sure. Possibly when I was concentrating on my food because I was so hungry. Maybe someone already asked this question or touched on it, but so I hope I'm not repeating something someone else said. But did your experience as being a lawyer help you when you played judges? Did someone already ask that question?
No, I answered the question.
Oh, you did ask.
As a matter of fact, it was counterproductive because my experience as a lawyer made me play lawyers as real lawyers and real judges, and in fact, that's not what's called for.
Oh.
Because people don't want real lawyers and real judges.
They want dramatic.
Yeah, and all you got to do is, as I say, watch court TV, and you will find that's what real lawyers and judges are.
The lawyers and judges on TV
not
are
Judge
acting
Judy.
like actors.
Yes.
Instead of lawyers.
You will find,
Judge Judy is more of an actor, right?
Judge Judy is an actor.
Actress.
Yeah, she's not a judge.
What type of lawyer? Criminal or civil?
International corporate.
Corporate. My cousin's corporate. I was just
Hope she snapped on the corporate heads as much as she snaps on the petty criminals and patties.
So,
Okay. Yep.
Where did you get your tenure at? You here at Penn State? Your tenure?
Tenured. I was tenured at Penn State. It's the only place I've ever been a teacher for 10 years. Actually, 15 years now.
Oh, so okay.
I started in '95, so it's been 18 years.
18 years.
But I went away. I taught at Temple. I was head of the film department at Temple for a while. I was a Fulbright scholar in South Africa for a year. So I started in '95, but there have been 3 years that I've been away from Penn State. But I got tenured here and full professor. Yeah.
Did you ever see that movie, The Bucket List?
Yes, the bucket list.
Yeah.
The
Bucket list.
Yes.
Bucket list.
I
Right.
know Morgan Freeman plays in that, and there's one scene in there that always makes me laugh. He's by this car, and this other guy's by this car, and Morgan Freeman says, "You gonna buy it a dress, or you gonna drive it?"
Well, I want to thank you again for
Sure,
coming. We were
absolutely.
honored to have you here.
Absolutely.
We are.
We really appreciate this.
Good. Hopefully, you enjoy the film.
Hop back in the other guest.
Hey, I mean, we made. We've been doing
Yeah,
this so
we
much.
did.
Just holler if no one's letting
She's still
you.
teaching this summer, so we're so.
Oh.
really excited.
Well, thanks
Yeah.
again. We
Well,
appreciate
thank you
it.
for taking the time.
Oh, thank you, it's our
Appreciate it.
You
pleasure.
bet.
I have a comment. It seems like
Thanks again.
to have done all you've done in your life, you must be 100 years old.
I am.
He's just a very, very busy person. He always has been.
Busy person.
I always, when his mother was alive, I would always bless her and say, I can't believe that you actually took care of this young man until he was 16, 17 years old, because he never got out of the terrible twos. He's always been very, very busy.
By the way, he did choose the second film because we have a female director, Mimi Leaders.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and
That's
she's
one
great,
reason we
she's great.
picked.
Yeah, and she was, a lot of people talk about this when we did Hurt Locker.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Mimi is the first action adventure director, she's really great.
But I got it.
Hi.
Some good ones with me.
So there.
Oh,
Always
yes,
sit in the
please,
computer
have some
room one of
food.
these days.
Cherries.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
Cherries really are.
Thank you so much for coming.
Okay, 5-second rule, I got
Thank you.
it.
Thanks a lot for coming.
Yeah, enjoy. And happy Independence Day, everybody, too.
Well, happy 4th, yes.
Happy 4th. Yeah.